Hello everybody, welcome to Lido Fine Art. If you're new, welcome. If you're not new, welcome back. Today's video we will be talking about the selling of haunted items. Now let me give you a quick preface here. So how are items haunted in the first place? So there are two scenarios at which this can happen. You have the side of the demonic, and then you have the side of the earthbound spirit being attached to the said item. Now, what happens is when somebody dies, they are left with just a consciousness, right? So how they become attached to an item. So in the world before they passed away, they could have loved something so much, right? That they wish they could have taken it with them and they couldn't leave without it, right? So instead of crossing over into the light, they find themselves attached to that item. Now, a good example of that, let's say your grandmother passes away, right? And in her will, she wants you to bury her with her jewelry. And you don't do that, right? She's gonna know because, I guess the general consensus is that when people cross over, they have until a little bit after their funeral for that white light to appear. Now, I've read that in many books, so I don't know how, true it is, just because I haven't come across that scenario yet with seeing that for myself. But that's what they're saying. Okay, so if that is true, right, they can see that they didn't get what they requested in their will, right? So grandma knows you didn't bury her with her jewelry. And I'm guessing that if she wanted to be buried with it in the first place, that she loved that jewelry. She was obsessed with that jewelry. And she probably thought that maybe if you buried her with it, that she'd be able to take it with her. Well, the sad truth is you can't take, physical items with you to the astral realm or heaven realm or wherever realm you go. So, yes, you didn't bury grandma with her jewelry, and now she's attached to it because she doesn't want to lose sight of it. So that is a scenario, right, of an earthbound spirit attaching to an item. So the same thing could happen with, let's say, there's a lot of haunted items being sold off of eBay, and a lot of them are haunted dolls. Now, the thing about that is you can't believe everything you see, especially being advertised on eBay or even any marketplace, right? Someone can just put the word haunted next to their item so it would sell faster. But there are people trying to get rid of their haunted items to pass along to other people. And sometimes they are haunted. So then we have the other side, the demonic side. So a good example is Annabelle. Now, I believe that doll is in the Occult Museum. I think that one is owned by Ed and Lorraine Warren. I'm guessing it's now owned by Tony Spera and Lorraine's daughter. Tony is the husband of her daughter, and I believe it's under their care now. So how do demons get attached to haunted, or they're not haunted yet until it's, there's a demon attached to it. But how does that happen? So Annabelle is a good example, right? How did the demon, or why did the demon attach itself to a doll? Well, I'll tell you why. So dolls, or even any kind of child toy, are great to be, haunted by demons. And they pick those because they know it's going to get into the hand of a child, right? And what is the easiest, thing to attack? A child. You know, the whole imaginary friend thing, right? Parents just think, oh, it's just part of them growing up. They don't understand that, that thing doesn't exist. But let me tell you, children, their psychic barrier is completely down, right? And they're probably more psychic than adults are, because when they're kids, they haven't learned to push that stuff back into their subconscious, right? They have an active imagination. So they haven't learned to deny that part, where adults have. We're always told, things don't, exist, like paranormal is fake, and if you believe it, then there's something wrong with you. But if a kid, believes that stuff, it's fine, because they're children, and they haven't learned to deny that. So yes, a demon is more likely to attach to a child's toy, and they love to attach to dolls, because yes, they want and they know that that toy is going to get into the hands of a kid, because that's what they want. They want to haunt, and pretty much their ultimate their ultimate goal is possession. Sometimes I feel like I talk and my brain are not synced together. Can you tell? But yes, so they're gonna go after the kids, and the best way to do that is to go after the toys and attach to that. So a lot of dolls will be chosen to do that. So let's get to the selling of these things. Now, like I said, you have some fakes out there because people are just trying to make money. That's unethical in of itself already, but So what is wrong with selling haunted items? Well, you have the unethical side of it, of why would you want to put something potentially dangerous into somebody's home? And then you have, well, if there's an earthbound spirit attached to it, right? Wouldn't you want to make sure that that spirit crosses over and goes where it needs to go, instead of profiting off of it? And who knows, it could be suffering through reliving the death state over and over again. You don't know what's going on with them. And then you have the whole, well, what if demon entity is attached to it? That's friggin' dangerous. So yeah. So if you ever see a haunted item on the internet, I advise not to buy it, because of those reasons. You don't know what you're getting yourself into. It's unethical because you don't know what's going on with, well, first of all, if you're not a psychic medium, you're not going to know whether it's demonic or an earthbound spirit. So yeah, that's a good enough reason in of itself. And then you have, let's say it is an earthbound spirit, right? While you think it's cute and fun to, bring a little haunted, entity into your house, like a spirit, it's, unless your goal is to help that entity cross over, it's kind of a horrible situation. You think you're trying to make it feel better by giving it company, right? But what it really needs is to be able to move on. And if you can't provide that, then I wouldn't go into buying it, because then it just promotes the selling of more haunted items. And then you have the obvious, which I stated before, the demonic entity if it's attached to the doll. And one thing I do want to say about haunted items by especially dolls by demonic entities. They don't possess the doll, okay? You can't possess something that's not living. I'm not saying that goes for Earthbound Spirits. You can't possess something that is not living. What they do, though, is they can manipulate it through psychokinetic power. So pretty much it's the demon pulling the strings. And an example again is Annabelle, how it tried to kill one of the owners, and I guess it tried strangling, I guess it was the owner's boyfriend, because he didn't like the doll, and he tried to strangle the guy, right? It wasn't the doll itself acting out, it was the demonic entity manipulating that doll, kind of like a puppet. So he was able to manipulate the doll into, you know, trying to strangulate the guy. So, oh, and another thing is the illusion of, you know, the doll doing horrible things. It's not the doll, but they can also feed you illusions to make it look like the doll's doing the thing. But really, it's them just choking you themselves. So, yeah, they cannot possess something that is not living. And the same thing goes for Earthbound Spirits. What else? What is also very important? So, yeah, I think that's enough said. But yeah, it's unethical, dangerous. Oh, the most important part. So, you know, using or buying and displaying haunted, demonically attached items, you're endangering everyone in your household and in the perimeter of which you live. Because just because you have, you know, a demon I don't know, attached to a doll, right? It's not going to stay in one spot. No, it's going to do whatever the hell it wants. It's going to go outside of your house. It's going to go for any easy targets, right? Children, pets, elderly, those that are ill, fair game for them. They don't care. Your baby, it doesn't care. It's going to torment your baby, especially your baby, because it can't defend itself. So that is what you're letting into your home when you buy haunted items. Do you really want to put your family at risk? Your pets? I wouldn't do it. It's stupid. And once you have it in your home, getting it out, good friggin' luck. Good luck finding a medium that is experienced with demonic entities. It's really hard to find a medium and a demonologist in one. So trying to think if I said everything that I needed to say. So, demonic entities, most times they do not operate alone. They always have assistance from other demons. So while you think you're letting in one demon, you're probably letting in dozens. So, and then trying to get that out of your house. Even if you remove the doll, right? Or whatever's haunted that you bought, doesn't necessarily mean that that entity is gonna go away. And treating that object with more, how do I say? Like, so in the example I'm thinking of, Annabelle, right? The person treated that doll like it was a person. It gave it the attention, right, that it wanted. So if you treat a demonic entity attached item with more attention, and you know, you treat it like a person or what have you, right? You're kind of like building an attachment to that item yourself. So when you try to get rid of the doll, which will not be easy because that entity will try to not let you do that. It's gonna play with your mind a bit and get you to not think about doing that. It's gonna make you think that you shouldn't get rid of the doll or whatever your haunted item is. So getting rid of it will be a pain in the you-know-what. And you're gonna need a whole bunch of stuff. Like, and if you go to like a church, try to get your house blessed and stuff, that's a hard thing to do in of itself, just because a lot of them do not want to do that. And I think the reason behind that is either they just deny the whole demon stuff, or they know they're not equipped to deal with that and they don't want to put harm on others in that place. So in ways of what do I want to say, it's kind of almost worse than playing with a Ouija board, because sometimes Ouija boards, you don't, and nothing happens, right? Whereas with a haunted item, well, there's already something attached to it and you don't know what you're gonna get. Well, a Ouija board's like that too, but the thing's already haunted, so you already have the infestation of, an entity, right? And I do want to add the whole a child being attached to toys thing, because while that is very possible, more than likely that's gonna be not true, and it will probably be a demonic entity in that case with children toys, because oftentimes when children do pass away, they do cross over. There's always somebody there to help them. But of course, there are those rare cases where there isn't someone there to help them. But the probability of it being haunted by an actual child is very low. And it's more than likely that it's possessed. Well, not possessed, because, it can't be. But you know what I mean. It's the thing is, the whole possessed thing is thrown around and in the media so much, so it's kind of like, to me, I interchange it even though I know that's not how it is, but I'm trying not to confuse you. So yeah, the entity is more than likely not a child, and what is attached is a demonic entity when it comes to like children's toys. Again, rare cases, a kid might be, but why would you risk it, right? If the probability of a child possessing, aka being attached to that item, why would you, risk that? And what I was saying about the whole Ouija board thing, which that's a whole other video as to why, which I think I did make a video as to why you shouldn't be messing with them. But haunted items like Ouija boards, you're not going to know what you're going to get. And a lot of times it's negative, because what happens is, man, I got the acid reflux today. And the reason it could be negative for the most part is that when you have Earthbound spirits, because they haven't crossed over, they're not ascended to where they, don't need to borrow energy from the living. So those that have not crossed over, they're going to be taking the energy of the living. So that in of itself is a negative aspect. And sorry if you hear my dog barking in the background, but no matter how many times I try to film, I can never get her to not bark. So just ignore that. Now I don't even remember what I was saying. Oh yeah, Earthbound spirits need energy and they need to borrow it from the living. So even, if you have a spirit that doesn't, mean or have ill intentions towards you. More than likely, it's going to drain you of your energy, which can lead to other problems like illness. And over time, if it keeps happening, it lowers your immune system to where you can catch illnesses easy, which can cause death. Which, that would have to be a long, 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 long time. And for an earthbound entity to do that, it would need a lot of power. So while death is kind of rare when it comes to earthbound spirits, with demon entities, that probability of getting ill and dying is higher. And, with demonic entities, their ultimate goal is to kill you, and they want your soul. So just keep in mind when you're looking for haunted items, that's what you're letting into your home. And they don't care about you. They don't care about, what you want. They're going to do whatever the hell they want. So think twice before, buying any haunted items. Now, on Saturday, I went to a, spooky themed store here in Pennsylvania in the Coventry Mall. It's called The Morgue, okay? Now, the store is pretty cool. Here, I'll show you this. I got this book. First edition, The Exorcist. That in and of itself is amazing, but I have it signed by Linda Blair, which was the actress that played the little girl that was possessed. So it has really cool things in there like that. You can get signed horror movie memorabilia, or spooky themed, memorabilia. They have bones, like knives, swords, tarot cards, just like books and stuff. Now, since we're talking about haunted items, I would also refrain from getting certain used books, right? So when you have books on the occult and Satanism and stuff like that, if it's used, I don't recommend it. Let's say you're using it for research purposes, right? Don't recommend buying anything used when it comes to stuff like that. Even tarot cards, because you don't know what that person's intentions were when they were using that. So you don't know the intentions of the people who, owned those things previously. So occult books, they could have used it for summoning, working with demons. So by getting, used books like that, it's pretty much like buying a haunted doll. So they did have that stuff, which, if you don't know your stuff, I doubt they understand the ramifications of that. So, I don't fault them there. But what I will fault them for is selling haunted dolls and toys. I did see that there. When I was there were definitely things that were haunted in there. I could feel the negative vibration that was on, I think it was 2 or 3 of the toys that were there. I don't think all of them were haunted. But, there are entities that are able to hide their presence because they want you to buy them. So I wasn't too keen on that. And the whole bones thing, like the used books, you don't know what they were used for. Now obviously you can tell, I think, for the most part. So they had stuff in amber, like little exoskeletons and stuff. That stuff's less likely to be used for negative things. That's more like decorative things. But then they had full size goat and ram and deer heads and stuff. And a lot of people just use that for decoration. But I did feel that there were one or two that were not. And I didn't like how it made me feel when I walked past it. So, again, you have to be careful with that stuff. Some of the skeletons of the animals were pretty neat. Though, being someone who loves animals, I feel like buying remains of animals is kind of disrespectful to them. That's just my personal opinion. So I didn't go for that. And they have like, if you ever go to like a science class or like a museum, they have like the displays of like bugs and stuff. They had that. I mean, that was pretty neat. When I was growing up, I studied bugs. I was obsessed with it. I wanted to be an entomologist, well, a forensic one, where you studied bugs on dead things to, help find cause of death, time of death, stuff like that. But anyway, they had that kind of stuff. They had piercing stuff, which is kind of unrelated, but I guess it goes with the aesthetic. Tarot cards, same thing with like the satanic books that were used. If they're opened, I don't recommend it. And I don't recommend demon tarot either, even if they're not opened, just because while you think it's just tarot with demon pictures on it, the problem is in that situation, that's not what that is. You're actually consulting demon entities. And same with like the occult books, even using them for research, even brand new ones, you have the risk of, let's say you're on a demon picture of a certain one, right? I won't say a name because I don't want that to linger in someone's brain for it to then be able to attack you later. So let's say you're at a demon, right? And you're reading about it. Well, there is a chance that that demon, well, it's going to know you're reading about it. And two, it can haunt you and bother you. So especially if you are more awakened, it's going to go after those who are awakened more than, others, just because it wants your bright light, and your bright light is like a homing beacon for, negative entities. And, well, all entities. Let's see what else. What else did it have? The knives. Now, I know, like, from experience to go in conventions and stuff, a lot of the knives aren't used. They're just collected. But again, you gotta be careful, because if that was previously owned, you don't know what they did with it. Now, I am a huge collector of knives and swords. I love them. I believe in a past life, I use them a lot. So I collect them. But you gotta be careful with, used ones. Now, I typically go for ones that are brand new and not used for that reason. But it's very rare, I would say, for, to find stuff like that had been previously used for bad things. But you still gotta watch out. And I do want to recommend going to any store like that, right? Or buying any item. You want to sage, and cleanse that item before you bring it into your home. And you want to cleanse yourself before you, go to your home too. Just to make sure that nothing follows you. Now, I will admit that I forgot to do this, and I was so pissed off at myself because that happened. That was the second time that I did that. The first time I brought home a demon. So I am talking from experience here. But the second time, I think I'm good. I did cleanse myself when I got home, but I should have done it before I reached my house. So always, 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 always cleanse your items and yourself before you walk into your house. Because once you get something in your house, it's hard to get rid of. And it's hard to find someone that can help you and is able to help you. So yeah, always cleanse your items in homes. I do this by saging, and I ask for protection from other ascended masters. So, for example, I have been, getting the help from Archangel Gabriel and Shiva. They are great entities to ask help. I did that too, and I did sage my room with the items, and I made sure that everything was cleansed. There are other things you can do with like crystals and stuff, but that's how I do it. You can even use holy water, and the thing about holy water is you don't have to get it from a church or a priest. You can literally bless your own water. It's, easier than you think it is. So yeah, always cleanse your stuff, before you bring it into your house. I'm trying to think what else I'm missing. Oh, they also had like memorabilia for, is it Lizzie Borden? She was someone who killed her family. It was kind of like an Amityville horror situation where she was possessed and, killed her family. So they sold memorabilia from that, which wasn't, I think it was a mass-produced thing. So I don't think it's something that was in that house that was then, brought and sold in that store. Now that was mass-produced. It was like a postcard of like her signature and stuff with a stamp on it. It was like, yeah, it was like a postcard. So that would be okay. They did sell sage and stuff, which that's good. Some fun things like apparel, like shirts, clothing, hoodies, fake contacts, like the freaky ones that make you look like a demon. Cosplay, love cosplay. I don't see anything wrong with it. So contacts are good, and they're not previously used, so that's even better. Plus, ew, if it were. I also got a machete that was signed by the actor who played Jason. Kane Hodder signed my machete, and all things that have signatures come with an authentication thingy that says it was signed. Yeah, with a rainbowy sticker thingy that proves it's legit. But yeah, when you go into stores like that, just be mindful of what you're walking around. Think to yourself, was this item previously owned? What do you feel when you walk around that item? Like, do you pick anything up? If you feel anything negative, don't bother. Don't even think about taking it with you. When I got the Exorcist book, I didn't feel anything, so that was good. And I didn't feel anything from the machete, but I did feel like perhaps there was something kind of almost attached that kind of followed me home, and I had that uneasy feeling. So I definitely made sure to cleanse myself before, I'm not gonna just let it go like the last time. The last time I didn't even know about cleansing and stuff and how to even do it. But this time around, I made sure, even though it was a bit late. So yes, that's what I would say about haunted items. When you go to stores, be mindful. And then it is unethical and potentially dangerous. So I do not recommend buying anything haunted or allegedly haunted unless your intentions and you are experienced and you actually are a medium and you know what's what, then maybe I would say, as long as your intentions are to help that spirit cross over, okay. But if you can't tell the difference between a demonic entity and an earthbound spirit, I do not recommend it at all. Especially for those who are not awakened and think it would be really cool to have haunted activity going on in their house. Don't do it. Please, 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 please don't do it. For yourself and for your family. So yeah, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, or you want to share, a personal story about something you thought were haunted in your house and you had haunted activity, leave them down below. It would be very interesting to see the stories of other people. So thank you for watching and have a super special, awesome day.